What's going on, fight fans? A little after 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Miguel Cotto versus Daniel Geale has come and gone, and Miguel Cotto scores a fourth round TKO stoppage in which Geale was asked if he wanted to continue, and he said, "I'm good." And I think many of us expected this was a fight Miguel Cotto was supposed to look good in, but I think one of the major sticking points as to, I guess, some of the criticisms towards Cotto was the fact that this fight was at a catch weight, and Daniel Geale at the weigh-in didn't look very healthy, but came in, they were saying like at 182 pounds or maybe like 170 something after, you know, he takes his clothes off and he's in his boxing attire. But this was the biggest middle. I mean, if you theoretically, I mean, well, I don't say theoretically, but in all reality, Daniel Geale was the biggest guy Cotto's ever fought. But that didn't make a difference. Cotto's skills, I mean, looks really sharp. The body attack early on, and really, I would even say more consistent in this fight than even in the Martinez fight, even though the fight lasted 4 rounds. But I mean, what's there to say with this connection between Freddie Roach and Miguel Cotto, man, has produced 3 knockouts. And, you know, people are going to still make concessions about, you know, the guys that he's fought, you know, being Delvin Rodriguez, Sergio Martinez, and now Daniel Geale. And you know, some people do make points. You know, Daniel Geale was coming off a knockout loss to Gennady Golovkin. But you know, at the same time, man, I mean, I think, especially you know, Miguel Cotto actually admitting the fact that he's not a real middleweight when Max Kellerman was asking him about a potential fight with Gennady Golovkin. I mean, he was saying, obviously, the Canelo fight is the one that they're looking at first, and if Golovkin presents himself after that, you know, they may entertain it. But at the same time, I mean, you know, it's such a it's tough. If you know, if you're somebody, or at least if you are Miguel Cotto, how you tell the fans or you tell the writers, like, you know, Golovkin's just not a guy I need in my life. And I think when he said that, you know, he's not a middleweight when Max Kellerman asked him, I think that was kind of him hinting like, I have no desire to fight Gennady Golovkin. But I think the fight that we are finally going to see is finally going to happen, and that is a seminal meeting with, or a summit meeting, I should say, with Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez, which by many accounts is a fight that I think HBO has already begun the early preparations, as there was talks that there was an early deal. Well, not totally solidified, but a verbal agreement that both guys would face each other following their upcoming fights. Canelo had his with Kirkland, and Cotto just had his now with Geale. Cotto-Canelo under Mayweather-Pacquiao is the biggest fight in boxing that could be made. And again, Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry all over again, and this is at a high level. And Miguel Cotto, look, I mean, look, there's people that think Canelo is too young and he's too strong, too big of a fighter. But I mean, I think throughout the years we've learned that you cannot count Miguel Cotto out, and I think the performance he showed tonight shows that he's still on top of his game, and his confidence level with Freddie Roach, and just his overall approach to his style, man, is something like an early Cotto, but like I mentioned before, but an experienced, maybe a little more polished version. And we know the power is there. Especially, you know, from 154 to 160. I mean, I think that was when he was coming up from welterweight. That was a concern, but I don't think there's anybody that can deny that Cotto is a guy you have to be wary of his power. And you know, the one thing, again, that's been a constant throughout his career, man, is his jab. And I think that's the setting point to a lot of his fights. And he showed it in this fight. And he showed just a variety of combinations. And, again, like just staying busy to the body. And you could tell early in the fight those left hooks were hurting Daniel Geale. But again, I think now coming out of this fight, the fight that we're going to be hearing for the next 6 months or for however long it takes to be made, but I believe it's going to be made this year, is Cotto Canelo. It's a great style matchup, and I think for the casual fans that I guess we're looking for, more action, this is going to be the fight for you, because neither of these guys are going to step back or step down. And like I said, the Puerto Rico-Mexico rivalry just makes it that much bigger of a fight. Now the question is the WBC going to strip Miguel Cotto of the title? Because Gennady Golovkin is the #1 contender. He's the interim champion. But, Miguel Cotto weighing in at 153 for this fight, for a middleweight fight at a catchweight. And again, touching on what he told Max Kellerman after the fight, he's hinting at us that, like, this middleweight run was to grab that belt, make history, but I don't think there's really any intentions for him to be a long-lasting middleweight. The Canelo Alvarez fight, I think with the belt maybe adds that much more, but at the same time, without the belt, it's still a big fight. So I don't know if the WBC or Cotto just vacates it altogether, and him and Canelo just get it on for the sake of the fight itself, big money, and a huge, rivalry with both Puerto Rico and Mexico. So nothing obviously is guaranteed. So, and we know how things work in boxing, but I wanted. I think we're all on the same boat when we say that this fight is going to happen, and I think for both fighters, it's the biggest money fight that can be made right now, and it's a risk. It's where the risk and reward really meet. This is why it's a fight I think is going to be made. I don't think either guy's afraid of the other. Well, particularly with Cotto, where he didn't accept the fight the first time, but I think everything is just all in line financially, and I think the fact that they have already have had a verbal agreement, I think some points have already been touched on where I don't think there's going to be any further hurdles, or so we would hope not. But impressive performance by Miguel Cotto, considering the circumstances with Daniel Geale and so forth. But we'll have to wait and see how everything materializes. I don't think we're going to hear anything within this next month or even into next month. Maybe next month we'll start to hear little rumblings, but the usual case for Cotto, he kind of like lays low for a couple months, and then we'll hear about his next fight. But for a Cotto Canelo fight, I want to believe that even immediately following this fight, they're going to be in contact with Golden Boy and begin the early stages of what is going to be boxing's second mega fight between Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez. So let me know what you think of Cotto Geale, what you think of a potential Cotto versus Canelo fight later this year. As I always say, subscribe, hit the links, and we'll be talking about the fights as well as upcoming fights this Monday, 9:30 GYGB Boxing Podcast. Hit the link below, and I'll be back with you soon.